Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Through the Eyes of Educators and Gamers. I'm your host, Lane. I am joined by my co-host and wife, Brittany. And we are going to start this going today. All right, so first things first, this is our pilot episode, so I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'm Lane. I am like I said earlier, I'm the host. We are doing a podcast about how education and gaming kind of correlate with each other and how they work. I myself am a avid gamer as well as U.S. Army service member and small business owner of Live Productions, the company that is managing this podcast. And that's really it about me. Brittany, say hi.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I am an elementary teacher. I am not a gamer unless it's Yahtzee.
Brittany, say hi. That's it? That's all I do? I got no hobbies, nothing other than Yahtzee.
Not really. I'm a pretty boring person.
She's nervous. Even though we did this the other day and it worked out really well as like a test run, but now she's nervous because it's live. That's acceptable. I don't hold that against you. I got no hobbies, nothing other than Yahtzee. There we go. Now I can actually hear myself. Okay. So, for today, we have a topic. We decided to go with is gaming bad for students? Why or why not?
Well, I think that it's not bad for students. It just depends on how much they're on it. In the education field, lots of students do play games, and so they are able to connect their gaming experience to other things inside the classroom, so writing or bonding with other students that also play a game. So I don't think that it's necessarily bad, but also don't think that a kid should be on it all night, all day, and all those things. But that's my opinion on that.
So just not having, I guess the key word is everything in moderation. Something, we've been taught throughout the years, you can't drink too much because if you drink too much, you're an alcoholic. You can't eat too much. If you eat too much, you're a glutton. Just kind of keeping yourself in the realm of, a little bit is enough and don't overdo it.
Yeah, because I still think kids need to, play outside and get that vitamin D from the sunlight. And if they're just sitting there in front of a computer all the time, then sometimes it can be hard for individuals to be able to socially interact with other people if all they're doing is sitting in front of a computer or TV or whatever they're playing their game on.
See, now with that being said, a lot of games nowadays actually pull in a social aspect. You're not just sitting there playing by yourself. Now, while that is, a thing for some games, you're not just sitting where do you think that, does the social aspect of video gaming per se, something that I play often, World of Warcraft, I socialize with a lot of people on there.
But especially for kids, it's different when you're face-to-face with someone and you're not face-to-face, because people can be more bold when they're not face-to-face to someone than when they are face-to-face.
That makes sense. I am not a big face-to-face person.
I'm aware.
I never really have been, though. That's just like, I have a very small group of friends. Everything outside of my group of friends is it's a little weird for me to get into. Like, I'm definitely an introverted person by nature.
Whereas I enjoy talking to people face to face.
Except for when you're scared to talk on a podcast. And you're not even the only person you're talking technically to face is me. And I'm your husband, so that's just sad.
Yeah, but I'll get warmed up to doing it. It's just a matter of the first time I'm doing it. Yeah, but I'll get warmed up to doing it. It's just a matter of, no, it's the first time I'm doing it. Yeah, but I'll get warmed up. Leave me alone. It's just a matter of, no.
See, that's, so... I feel like the topic went by really quick. I really don't know how to discuss that more. Like, it's
what do you
true.
think?
Like, it's... I feel like the topic went by really quick.
As a gamer, what do you think?
I don't think gaming is bad for students. I think that as a whole, there are things that you can learn from gaming that I think that other people may not. As a whole, I don't think there are things that you can. There are. I think that, for instance, I mean, while I started gaming when I was 4 years old, like, and most of those games were gambling games. So yeah, I learned how to gamble at a very young age. Like, not practical life skill. Yeah, I learned how to but there are other games that do they're like puzzle games that you can play, like Bejeweled. They do problem and pattern solving, or the hunt and find games problem and pattern are sitting there. I cannot remember what the titles of those games were that I used to play. They were it was like a crime scene investigator, and you would go through and you would have to find objects in the little map that you were in. It's literally just like the Where's Waldo book, and it helped you like identify things that were there. So it helped you more pattern recognition, more ability to peer into the deep stuff and not just what's on the outside. You're having to actually look. So I do think gaming is good for students. It is especially now in the digital age that we live in. Like, I know most kids don't want to read books, which is fair because reading is hard. English is a difficult language. Kids don't want to read books, but outside of that, like, you can use gaming as a way to get those in. Like, I remember you can use Blue's Clues games. Like, I remember, yeah. Used to play on the computer back when I was like 5 or 6. And it's used to play like it did all of that. It did the reading, math. It went through a little bit of everything. It's used to play like it did all of that. I believe that gaming as a whole, a little bit of everything, is good for the student as long as they're not doing 8+ hours a day. They're not doing sitting in their room staring at the computer screen, because a lot of times nowadays anyways they're going to be staring at the computer screen anyways. I talk too much, I'm out of breath. I'm not used to talking on a microphone like this, because I feel like I have to project my voice a little bit more, and it's actually like talking on a microphone like this. I can't breathe when I'm doing it. I've been streaming forever. I should be used to this. I can't breathe, but I'm not. It's weird. I've been streaming forever. It's weird doing this format. I kind of like it, but I'm not. It's weird. I've been streaming forever. It's weird doing this format. So, all right. With that being said, still this, is a very short topic. All right. With that being said, and for a pilot episode, it's not a bad topic to start with. A very short topic. With that being said, for a pilot episode, it's not a bad topic. How do you think you can incorporate gaming into your classroom environment? How do you think you can incorporate gaming into your classroom environment?
As an elementary school teacher, we do a lot of like writing and connecting and all of those things. We do a lot of like writing and figuring out, like, as the new school year starts, like asking my figuring out, like, for kids, as the new school year starts, like, what interests you, and if it is video games that interest them, like, what type of video game. Not that I'm gonna have a lot of input on said video game, because like I said at the beginning, I'm not a gamer, but letting them be themselves and talk about what makes them happy. Because I remember when I was in school and I had to write something. Like, if my teacher gave me a topic to write about, It was hard, but if I got to choose my own topic, it was easier because I could, it was more enjoyable to write about something that I wanted to write about and not what someone was making me write about. It was more enjoyable to write about something that I wanted to write about and not what someone was making freedom for them to write about certain things, hopefully, that they are interested in will help them grow as writers and are interested in, even as readers. Like, I'm sure there's lots of things out there that are interested in, even as readers are that they can read about with games or whatever. So even just letting them, pick that book or pick that topic to write about to help them be more interested and more engaging in those assignments. Which is always my goal, is to have my students, enjoy what they when they come to school. Yes, they're there to learn, but there are ways that you can when they come to school. Not let it just be boring all day long. And no one wants to be boring all day long. Not let it just be.
You said earlier that you were a boring person.
No one wants to be boring all day long. Yes, I did. And that's how I know you don't want to be boring all day. It gets boring. And that's how I know you
So
don't
on
want
your
to be
side of the
boring all
house, this is
day.
where I come in, because you don't know
It's
anything
boring.
about gaming, but hey, I'm a gamer. So on your side of the house, so I have more of a, because you don't know anything about gaming, but our dog is sleeping and she makes weird noises when she sleeps. Sorry. So, I have an expertise level that you don't have. Sorry. So she's like halfway barking in her sleep. It's really weird, the noises that she makes when she's trying to take a nap. I'm sorry. I keep getting sidetracked because it is. She getting into it today. I keep getting sidetracked because it is. That's the most. I don't think I've ever heard her bark like that. Y'all can't hear it, but it sounds like someone squeaking their shoe on like a tile floor, like in a basketball court. It sounds like someone squeaking their shoe squeak. A tile, really weird, like in a basketball court. Right, but I've got this expertise. I've got hundreds of different games under my belt. Some of them are. A lot of them are kid friendly, some of them are not kid friendly, so I can't particularly use Call of Duty in a classroom environment. A lot of them are kid friendly, some of them are not kid friendly, so I can't particularly use Call of Duty. But we can use things like Minecraft is a big one that I've heard people using before. Because Minecraft actually has an education edition. I've heard people using before, where it has an education edition. It has like chemistry tables, where it has other objects that can help you teach, like sciences and things of that nature. On top of that, there are probably people out there in the world that have used, or not even have used. You can use things like it's a game called Civilization. Have used. You can use things like and Total War. Civilization, Total War, things like that give Total War access into the historical aspect of that and some futuristic aspects if you really want to look at it that way. But there are games and there are items that you can use to really bring bring how they look at things into a more fun standpoint. I still have yet to figure out how to turn Fortnite into a learning platform. How to turn Fortnite into a learning platform. Because that's, I guarantee, between Minecraft and Fortnite, those are the two biggest ones that kids play nowadays.
That's what I've heard a lot about Minecraft.
Exactly. Because Minecraft and Fortnite, and Minecraft's been out for
That's what I've heard a lot about Minecraft.
Because Minecraft and Fortnite and Minecraft, it's a good time. I think overall. And I wish, it's harder for teachers nowadays, especially when you have the older teachers who have, they've been teaching for 40 years. They don't really know what to do when it comes to video gaming because they grew up without it. but now we're getting into the realm of, these teachers, these younger teachers like yourself who have grown up in the digital age and grown up with video games that weren't Pong and, Galactica and Pong, not Galactica, Galactica. What am I talking about?
I don't know. My favorite game to play as a kid was a Minnie Mouse game where I could cook food. It was on a CD. My favorite game to play as a kid was a Minnie Mouse game where I could cook food. It was on a CD. My favorite game to play as a kid was a Minnie Mouse game where I could cook food. It was on a CD.
Galaga. Galaga is the game I'm thinking of. And kids also, the teachers nowadays didn't grow up on just Pac-Man, and kids
that was
also,
also my game. I was really good at it.
Were you?
One of my uncles got jealous because I beat him one time.
Were you?
He wasn't a fan of that. One of my uncles
Sounds about how
got
you get jealous
because
when
I
I
beat
beat you
him
in
one
Mario
time.
Kart.
He wasn't a fan of that. Why we gotta bring that up?
Sounds about how, just adding to it. Adding fuel to the fire.
Why we gotta bring that up?
If there's no more podcast of after this, it's probably because
Why we gotta bring that up?
I beat her at Mario Kart. There's no few too many times, and she's finally broke and stabbed me. I beat her at Mario Kart. There's no few too
He's
many
just
times.
kidding.
She's finally broke and stabbed me. We'll see.
He's just kidding.
But the older teachers have more of a will struggle with this digital age, and they don't have the ability to, they have some ability. I'm not going to say they don't have the ability. They have some ability to connect with their students at a level of which requires their hobbies and gaming, but some of them can't because they don't know about it, and they don't know anything about it. I think gaming is, at this point in time, one of the biggest, if we really want to build smarter students outside of, just basic book knowledge, give them the ability to problem solve outside of, 2 plus 2, 100 times 100, throwing them in a little bit of, problem solving games like these, like the pattern exploring games like Bejeweled, or, the solve a crime kind of games, like things like that can just, it's a life skill. Solve a crime kind of games, like things like because I can tell you right now, as it's a life skill. Adult human male, I have yet to use algebra in a real life scenario. Adult human male, but I've had to problem solve almost every day in a real life scenario. But I wouldn't have had the problem solving skills that I need if I wouldn't have had practice in the past. Solving skills that I need if I wouldn't have done. It doesn't take me long to figure things out and actually solve a problem because I look at things a lot different than someone who has no problem solving training or hasn't really ever done problem solving in their past. But I've been doing problem solving stuff since I was 6 years old because I was doing it in video games. But I've been doing problem solving stuff since I was 6 years old. You're looking at me like I'm crazy and I want to know what's going on inside your head.
Just listen.
You're looking at me like I'm crazy and I want to know what's going on inside your head.
Just listen.
It's one of those things. It's just gaming is as a whole. It's one of those I think should be incorporated more into the learning environment as a whole. Because I don't think that it's bad for students. What you choose to show them may be bad, but if you choose the right things, I think it's actually going to be overall good for the students. But if you choose the right things, I think it's actually going to be overall good for the students. Anything to say to that one? Anything to say to that one? It's a weird place. We're in a weird time block right now where it's a weird place. We're in a weird where schools are trying to figure out the whole, how do we teach these students? These students have zero, interest in what we're doing. It's harder to keep them on track, on focus. How do you think gaming could impact that? How do you think gaming could impact that? How do you think gaming could impact that? How do you think
I don't know. I don't know.
No, why don't you know?
I don't know.
No, why don't
Because
you
I
know?
have to have time to think about things.
No, why don't
Because
you
I
know?
have to have time
Well,
to think.
I'll start with my thought process while you think about this. Right. So for me, I'll start with when it comes to work, when it comes to doing something. And I was like this in school too because I just doing something. And I was like, everyone's always considered me a smart person and a smart kid, and I used to really make my parents angry when I would apply myself in school, come out of near the end of a 9 weeks or the end of a semester with like a D, and then bring my grade all the way back up to a B before the time went because I knew what I needed to do. And then bring my grade all the way back. How do you hold the focus of a student that has zero real want to learn? And this doesn't really go specifically into gaming, but this doesn't really go specifically into as an overall, finding out what their interests are. If you can find something that they're interested in and turn that into overall, finding out what their interests are, something to teach them with, you then be able or get the ability to pull in their interest. And they get that ability to really focus on something because they're interested in it. And they get that ability and they enjoy it.
I mean, that's what I try to do in my class all the time.
That's good. They enjoy it. Some people aren't like
That's what I
that.
try to do in my class.
But nowadays, a lot of kids' focuses is Legos. But nowadays, my focus as a kid was always Legos. I freaking love Legos. Legos were amazing. And then outside of that, it was freaking love Legos. Legos were amazing. For me, it was video games. Outside of that, there was nothing in school that they could teach me that I did not already know. For me, it was video games. Therefore, I found nothing in school that they could very boring. Not already know. Therefore, I found and so I didn't pay attention. I slept in class all the time. But they also never really tried to pay attention. I slept in class all the time. To pique my interest. But they also never really tried to. They never tried to really get me involved. They just kind of like, oh well, Lane's sleeping in class again, so let's just let him sleep. He's gonna pass his test later. I know it, so let's just let him sleep. But they never did anything to pique my interest. And to really get me involved and to continue my learning journey. It's like right now when I'm working through my bachelor's degree, like it is super hard for me because none of the stuff that I'm doing right now interests me at all. It is super hard for me because, but I'm also into the most basic skill level classes. But I'm also into that exist in a college degree plan. Most basic skill level. So it's not really something that is interesting to me because I've been through like 4 colleges and I've done these classes like not every time. Is interesting to me because I've been through like 4 colleges and I've done these classes. Like all in all, it's just that finding things that interest your students, and a lot of times that's going to be gaming. It's going to be something along those lines because nowadays every kid likes gaming, even if it's like you would see a lot of because nowadays every kid likes gaming.
Or Pokemon. Pokemon's a big thing too.
Pokemon is gaming.
I know Pokemon's a big thing.
Outside of your, a lot of people think that it's the male students that are going to be the only ones that are gaming. And that's not true. It's the female. I know a lot of female gamers. And I know they didn't start when they were in their, teenage years and, onward. They started when they were young. So, incorporating these things, and even if they aren't, extremely interested in playing games, I almost guarantee you every single one of those kids watches some sort of YouTube videos on games at times and just watches people play games. Therefore, they still have the interest. So, using that interest to help you teach and to help the kids study and things like that are, using that interest to help you teach and to help the kids study and things like that are,
I mean, just like there's. I mean, just like at the end of the day, kids are there to learn, so it's not like we're gonna be able to. At the end of the day, kids are there to learn. Focus on their interests the whole time that they're there, but like I said before, like having
focus
those
on their interests
little
the whole time
bits
they're
and
there.
pieces
But
of
like I said
their
before,
day
like,
of
focus on their interests,
reading and
little
writing and
bits and pieces,
you know,
of like
even if it's
their
thrown
day
in, like
of
if you have
reading
even
and
into math,
writing
like you
and
could
bits and pieces,
pose problems
even if
as
it's thrown
like
in, like
if I had
even
5
into math, like you could
Pokemon cards and
even
Johnny
as
over there gave me
I had
10,
5
like how many would I have?
Pokemon
Like
cards and
Johnny over there gave me 10.
Or you could go into the lines of,
Like how
like
many
in
would I have?
Fortnite terms,
Like
which is going to be one of the big ones.
Johnny over there gave me
You know,
10.
I need to build
Like how
5
many would I
wood
have?
walls, which is going to be one of the big. Each wood wall takes, 10 wood. How many wood walls? How many wood am I going to need to build my 5 walls? 10 wood.
But in order to do that, I would have to know about the games, and I don't know about the games. So,
Again, that's why I'm here.
but
You need me to write questions for you? I got you.
Games, and I don't know
I
about
can
the
figure it
games.
out.
So,
Again, that's why I'm here.
but they also have to
You need me
learn
to write
like
questions for you? I got
that.
you. I can
Yes,
figure it out.
you can bring your interest into learning, but you're not always gonna agree, or you're not always gonna be interested in everything that life has at throws at you. Always gonna
True.
agree, or you're not
But you can
always
always
gonna be
find something
interested in
interesting.
everything that life has at throws at you. Always gonna
True.
agree, or you're
But
not
you can
always
always
gonna be
find something
interested in
interesting.
That may not always be the case.
You always can. It's just a matter of where you're looking.
That may not always.
Like, I didn't enjoy my last unit. It's just a matter of where you're looking. And I wasn't going to until I started flying the Ravens. My last unit. And, even after, even before that, like, if I wasn't, when I wasn't flying, like, and I was just sitting in my office, what I would do to keep my interest and keep me, steady was just, sitting in my office watching people make stupid decisions. Steady was just because it interested me, and it's something that I wasn't in the learning environment, but like you can always find something to be your interest. But in the learning world, I believe you can use you can always find something to be your interest. For every subject, there's something you can use inside the gaming world to teach. For every subject, there's something you can use inside the gaming world to teach. For every subject, there's something you can use. You just got to figure out how to use it to get your point across. You just got to figure out how to use it to get your point across. You just got to figure out how to use it to get your point across. You got nothing? You look like you had something. You got nothing? You look like you had something. Anytime there's just this long, obscure silence in this during these podcasts, it is going in these live versions of the podcast. It's going to be this during these podcasts. It is just me and my wife having a stare down. It's going to be because I'm waiting for her to say something, and I'm giving her these weird looks trying to get her to talk. Because I'm waiting for her to say something, and I'm giving her these weird looks trying to get her to talk. Because I'm waiting for her to say something, and I'm giving her these weird looks trying to get her to talk.
I feel like bringing gaming into every subject or everything. I feel like bringing gaming isn't going to pique the interest of every kid. So I'm not like, as an educator, like you shouldn't just bring one thing into. So I'm not
I agree.
like, as an educator, like you shouldn't just.
I'm just saying that it is something that can be brought into every subject. It's not that you have to. I'm just saying that because you're right. Not every kid is going to be interested in gaming, but
Like me, if you brought gaming into everything, I would look at you like
interested in
crazy.
gaming. But
Like me, if you most of the time when you say something about gaming, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to teach her. I'm trying so hard. It's a rough time. The student becomes the teacher becomes the student. It's just a weird rough time. The student becomes the teacher but it's that finding ways to turn what the children's interest in or children's interest is into elements of teaching. What the children's interest in and children's interest it's that piece there that's the key to it's that the key to proper learning. That's the key to, in my own opinion, the key to proper learning. Because if you're teaching something and you want the kids to pay attention and you want them to learn, then give them something that they want. And you want the kids to pay attention and you want them to learn, then give them something that they want. But I'm going to call that the pilot podcast. It's the pilot episode. I'm going to call that Through the Eyes of Educators and Gamers. It's the pilot episode. I'm going to call that What'd you think? Through the Eyes of Educators and Gamers. It's the pilot episode. What'd you think? Through the Eyes of Educators. Good job. They came through real loud.
My bad.
What'd you think? Through the Eyes of Educators. Good job. Well, came through real loud. So today's was done on a Saturday. We are going to be uploading the recorded version of this come Monday to most of the podcasting platforms.
When he says we, he really means him.
Correct. I'll be the one editing it and uploading it because I'm the
When
one
he
that knows
says
how to do all of
he
it,
really means him.
including everything else minus the talking piece that she's doing right now.
I can be good at talking sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just the one that sets everything up. I'm the pack
I can be
mule.
good at talking sometimes.
Yeah, she's just the one that sets everything up. I'm the pack
I can be
mule.
good at talking
So,
sometimes.
but we are going to switch the live dates to Friday nights. So it'll be at, but we are going to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Friday nights. So it'll be at, but we are going because Arizona is weird and they don't do Friday nights. Daylight savings time. So it's just this weird amalgamation of time zones. Daylight savings time. So outside of that, weird amalgamation of time zones. If you want to hear more, don't forget to like and subscribe, both on YouTube and Twitch is where we're doing the live version of this. If you would like to help us out, both on YouTube and Twitch, we do have a Patreon. If you would like to help us out, as much support as possible. Currently there's only 3 tiers. I'm working on getting more, but everything gets a shout out. Everything gets you access to the Discord, and the highest subscribers get your highest level of priority for topic requests. Highest subscribers get your mid level gets medium priority, and then your lower level gets a little bit lower than medium priority, and then your basic everyday everyone just kind of gets they get priority-ish. Not really. Sorry.
Can they ask questions?
Yeah, and y'all can ask questions at any time.
Can they ask questions?
Yeah, the email, if you type in
Can they ask questions?
TEEG at live3 productions.com. That will shoot an email to my productions.com, to the Live Productions email through the Eyes of Educators and Gamers group that I have set up there, where y'all can ask questions
That we can address on the next or at some point.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. The Patreon should be patreon.com/liveproductions for anyone that is, wanting to shoot us something there. And if not, it's no big deal. Just we're trying to get better. This is the first. We're both still trying to figure out this whole podcast thing. It's definitely a new scenario for the both of us. So hopefully, as time gets better or time goes on, we'll get better at it, and we'll continue moving on. But thank you guys for listening. For those of you that were here for the live stream, sorry the chat boxes weren't working. They're kind of broken. I don't know why, so I gotta fix that. But outside of that, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and we'll see y'all next week. And this has been Through the Eyes of Educators and Gamers with Lane and Brittany, a live productions podcast.